Hello and welcome to the CLIX 2020 How to Use Email Alongside Other Channels session. My name is Bonnie Robinson and I'm one of the account managers here at Communicator, and I'll be presenting this session for you alongside my colleague Jamira Rahman, who's another account manager that will be joining us today. Just to get us started, in terms of agenda, what we'll be looking at is the key differences between omnichannel versus multi-channel. We'll also be giving you a couple of options in terms of what you can do to introduce additional channels alongside your email communications, and also give you some tips and examples of how exactly you can go about doing this and implementing it in a tangible way, so you can have some key takeaways they can implement in your emails. But to get us started, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Jamira.
Thank you, Bonnie. So to start off with, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through sort of what we mean when we say multi-channel and omni-channel. So looking at multi-channel marketing, now multi-channel marketing, it's a tactic that uses several different standalone marketing channels. Now, those channels are used in sort of different ways and means of communication between you and your targeted audience. Each channel has individual objectives and metrics, and they kind of function independently from one another. Now, multi-channel marketing focuses on generating customer engagement, and usually what happens is the source of it is where they put the brand at the core of the marketing strategy. Even though it might not be fully clear on that, that is basically what it's usually around. So for example, when we're talking about multi-channel marketing, what we mean is, say for example, if you're sending an email to targeted recipients for, I don't know, like some kind of offer. Now, them recipients might also get another either advert or prompt on social media, or maybe they will get an SMS, or maybe on websites they'll get a pop-up about the same product without, and what you're doing is you're targeting them without any knowledge that they may have already either purchased or vice versa, or you might assume that they've already seen something, but actually they haven't. So that is what multi-channel marketing is. And then on the other hand, we have omni-channel marketing. Now, omni-channel marketing means where marketing experts basically connect with their recipients or users using multiple channels. Now, the main difference is that the channels are connected to one single holistic user-centric structure. So what it is that this strategy, it ensures that there's a seamless experience for shoppers or users, and the message is always consistent, it's device agnostic, and it's most importantly, it's definitely customized based on your sort of browsing behavior. Now, this approach, what happens is it smoothens the overall customer experience by unifying individual customer experience. Now, that experience is facilitated by consistent messaging throughout their journey, and it also leads to seamless content experiences as well. So in turn, it means it's definitely more meaningful conversations between you and your customers. Now, an example of this might be that, I don't know, you might have seen a pair of shoes that you've had a look at on your laptop, but then coincidentally, they'll be the same ones that you saw while you were Instagramming on your phone. And also it'll be the same pair that you've received an email about when you went, when they went on sale a week later. So it's kind of following that customer's experience all the way around. So what is the number one element that you need for omni-channel marketing? So that is the question. It is data. Now, it's understanding your customers through that data. So make sure you get as much information as you can possible about your customers. And with that information, provide them with like the best, the most comfortable way to either make an order, ask you questions, communicate with your company in every possible way across all channels and devices it starts from, remember, it starts from the very first touch point to like repeat purchases and even more. So make sure that you're kind of giving them all those avenues. So now let's go ahead and we will now see how we can move from multi-channel marketing and across to omni-channel marketing. I will now pass you over to my colleague Bonnie, who will go through SMS marketing with you.
Yeah, thank you, Jumeirah. Yeah, so as Jumeirah mentioned, omni-channel marketing is really about leveraging the data that you have and using that communication alongside your email, and really just having that that knowledge across channels that you can leverage to better improve the journey for the recipients. But just to cover off some of the benefits for SMS there. So it's obviously a great way to increase revenue. That's just simply around the delivery rate within SMS. It's extremely high at 98%. In the day and age that we live in, mobile phones or smartphones are a key part of our everyday life. And I'm sure you're all aware of that. And a lot of people say that they couldn't live without their phones. And just, you know, an amazing stat there is that people view their phones an average of 150 times a day. I'm pretty sure through lockdown, it's probably increased considerably even more. It's a great way, just really specific to omni-channel marketing, to increase and boost your email open rates. And this can be done by targeting individuals who either have bounced or haven't opened an email, by sending them a communication to flag the fact that maybe they've received an email that they haven't opened, or to pass on additional information. And all of that can be integrated and developed as part of a journey. And within SMS as well, obviously we do this regularly and a standard practice within email, but you do have the option of personalizing, and this does result in increased conversions as well. And very similar to email, you do have the ability to be global, and we can reach 195 countries as well. So there's very little limitations when it comes to reach across the world. And you can leverage call to actions as well directly within an SMS. And these are trackable as well. So it's a great way to have a direct link to a specific action that you want the recipient to take, and that's delivered directly to the handset. And just to cover off some of the examples and use cases that you could do and implement in your journeys or alongside your email. So a really good and obvious one is booking and order confirmation. So this could be whether you're booking for an event, or it could be for a specific order that you've placed, and it's just sending an additional confirmation alongside email, or as a replacement if an email address bounces or it's not been opened. So it's just another channel that you could utilize and leverage to provide that additional bit of information and just support your email communications. But it can be a great way of upselling or cross-selling products as well. Quite often we see this being done if an individual wants to highlight either, it might be tickets that are remaining or available, and you want, I guess it's got the ability to develop a quicker turnaround, just because people generally will tend to read an SMS within the first 3 minutes of it being sent to them. So it's a great way of getting a fast turnaround for what might be a limited number of items, or cross-selling or upselling a product following on from a booking that a customer has made. And as well, another option which not a lot of people are aware of, but you might have seen this, is the ability to leverage customer feedback and actually collate data from surveys. And this can be done by giving them the option to respond, choosing a number based on the experience that they had. You can also use this as a standalone start to a journey. So this has been implemented in the past, for example, in a restaurant. On a menu, you might give the customer the option to actually enter their details and text it to a specific number. And that can be the start of their journey. And for you capturing that data, they can then later use as part of the email marketing. So another great way of just really leveraging that and collecting additional data. We do have a number of customers as well who leverage this for business critical communications. So whether it's travel alerts or disruptions, especially in situations where individuals might not have access to email, but you want to make sure that they receive that communication. It might be because they're traveling on a plane or don't have signal, but might have access to the mobile phone data rather than internet media data. And as I referenced and mentioned before as well, it's a great way for you to be able to support your email communication by targeting individuals that might have suppressed records, and individuals maybe entered incorrectly their email address, but you've got their mobile phone number. It's a great way to cleanse the data, but also to target individuals who might have bounced because their email is full, or if it's a hard bounce due to a permanent issue with their email address. And it's just a really good way to cleanse that data and just make sure that you're using both channels alongside each other just to really complement email and what you're doing as part of your email communications. And a couple of great examples is just as part of a pre-arrival journey, so you could send across a message that includes a link to, say for example, Google Maps, or it could have a postcode in there so that individuals are able to access that directly when they're in the car. And it creates a seamless journey that they don't have to maybe search through their emails and try and identify the specific address, but they've got it there in a message ready for when they're about to travel. And as well, it can be used as well to confirm service or renewal reminders. If a customer's made a booking and you just want to make sure that they're going to attend that pre-agreed appointment or a slot, you can send a confirmation with a reminder in there and give them the option to amend their booking accordingly if they can't attend it anymore. Just one of the things I wanted to highlight is the options surrounding the reporting as well. Although it's a little bit more limited when you compare it to email, you do get the ability to monitor obviously the sent volume. This is just the actual number of communications, but also the size or number of pages that are sent within a message. Obviously the number of messages that are actually delivered, and also if any messages are queued, rejected, or have failed as well, you will get that data. And there is the opportunity to receive feedback as well in terms of responses. So customers can, if it's enabled, and depending on the option that you pick as well, you can get feedback and inbound messages as well. And as I mentioned before, links that are included can be shortened and also trackable as well. And that allows you to look at the click-through rate, which again is always a metric that we tend to look at and focus on within email marketing. So I get asked a lot, how easy is it to implement SMS alongside email? And I think this is something that it's built within the Communicator platform, so there's no need to go outside of what we do. It's fairly easy to set up. All you need to do is ensure that the data, first and foremost, is accurate and correct. So I've got a reference there of what the formatting should be like, but also choose your alpha originator. So this is just simply how the recipient will identify you. So for example, there you could use Communicator, or an example that I've got on the right-hand side, you can see it appears to me as Lloyd BMW, which I obviously, as a recipient, recognize that and can relate to the message. But there are a number of different options that you could choose as well when it comes to the actual number itself. So you could choose a UK virtual number, so it'd appear like an 11-digit mobile phone number. And this could be used if you want it to appear like it's from a specific individual. But most customers tend to choose a shortcode option. So you do have the option to use our shared one, or you can jump onto a dedicated one that might be specific for a reason related to your brand. A couple other options as well. You can have shared shortcodes, as I mentioned, but also leverage keywords. A standard, if a recipient replies with the word stop, that will automatically stop them from receiving communications from that mailing list that they were sent. But you can input in their specific keywords for a call to action, or have bespoke opt-out keywords. For example, you could say for this Lloyd BMW example, stop Lloyd or stop BMW, and that would get picked up for that specific communication that you are sending out. And just to finalize and wrap up on the setup as well, a great thing that I always encourage all of my customers to have a think about is how this is set up within a data structure point of view. A lot of people say they've got legacy structures that might limit, or they believe might limit them from leveraging SMS, but you can set them up separately. This allows you to both have the flexibility of contacting individuals who might have an email address as well as mobile numbers, but also targeting individuals who you might have just the mobile phone data, but you want to target them and collect that additional data and then tie it into your email communications. So you do have the option of setting these up separately, and then you could join them by using automated jobs as part of the process throughout that journey. And I'm going to hand over to Jumeirah, who's going to talk you through websites.
Thank you, Bonnie. So now, obviously, we are going to be covering website, which is probably a massive, massive topic. But when you're specifically looking at email, there's certain things that you need to really consider. So first of all, to cover off the benefits. Now, although your website is probably the most important thing for your brand and for your company, or one of the most, to incorporate that with email, it's really quite a low cost to implement. It's very easy to do. And you have the ability to reach out to an audience who's already engaged with your brand. They know who you are because they're coming on your website. You've done your bit somewhere, but so you've got that opportunity to reach out to them even more. And you can also deliver targeted messages. So based on browsing or what they've clicked on, what they might have purchased, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, you have a lot more that you can deal with. And it's really about how you can target messages to them. It's very, very easy to measure, and how it's very easy to collate the data that you're going to be getting from these customers. So it's just about how knowing or how to understand that data and how to actually go ahead and implement it. And last thing is, it's very easy to share things within that community that you have. So you've got a lot of users that might come on your website, but remember it's very easy to share things like web pages. We very easily share things with each other over WhatsApp, over messaging. We might even send something through email, but we've got to really kind of try and think outside the box when it comes to that. So when we are thinking about your website and email, we generally think, right, what can we do to collate them both together, or what needs to be done to make sure that they kind of mesh together. So the first thing is, you need to have consistent branding. It's really, and you can see from when a recipient receives an email and see if they were to click onto one of your links, and then they get taken onto a web page that doesn't have the same branding, or it might not even look anything similar to the email that they've received. Straight away, they start to think, is this actually a genuine email or site? Or they might be very confused. The trust element is affected at that point. And your branding is, of course, your identity. So make sure that that is consistent across all mediums. And then the second thing is you've got to have a look at, say, have call to actions in your email. Now, call to actions are very standard across all marketing. However, in your email, you've got to take that customer to a dedicated landing page. Now, what I mean by dedicated is where you have an actual landing page that's not your homepage. It's nothing like that. It is actually a page where you're there and you're interested in actually converting those prospects into buyers. That's what we mean by a dedicated landing page. Now, make sure that you optimize that landing page to send the same message as the source of your traffic, which in this case would be your email. So say, for example, if I've sent an email out and I am, again, let's go back to them shoes that we've seen, and we really, really want to buy them. I am now clicking on them, that pair of shoes. I want to be taken onto the page where I can buy them shoes. I do not want to be clicking around and trying to go into the general section of all products, because that's what's caught my eye. And that's what I want to be finding more information about. I want to have a look and see if it's in stock. I want to have a look and see how quick I can get them. That is what you're trying to do. You're trying to answer any possible questions that customer has about that product that they've clicked onto. And of course, I've mentioned trust before, but building your trust is a big thing. So your brand is where you've actually gained your trust from your customers, but also you want to kind of prove it to them. So if I'm a new customer, I want to know whether or not you're a genuine company, if you are worth doing business with. So you want to kind of showcase customer testimonials on that landing page, and also, as an extra thing, include contact details on the footer of that landing page. So that actually shows that you're willing to sort of accept any queries, any questions that they have. You're there to be their point of contact should they have any queries for anything. And you really, really want to be quite transparent about it. And then the last thing is SEO best practice. So make sure you follow that where you can. So try and do as much research as possible and use the most sort of impactful keywords that will give you the best results on these pages. So that way, when you're kind of implementing them and you're kind of using both website and email hand in hand, you're gaining the best results possible. So let's look on the other side of it. So we are on websites. We see many things come up. We see adverts. We see pop-ups. We see a lot of things. So what can you do for those visitors that come onto your website and they're browsing? What can we do to link that back to gaining as much information about them as possible? First thing is website sign-up forms. Now these you can trigger them on sort of exit intent. So this is where you can actually select certain areas of your screen where if the user moves the cursor into certain areas, it will then trigger off this pop-up basically on exit intent. And or the other thing is it can be based on inactivity time. So if I've went onto a site and I've not done anything, I'm not even moved my cursor, not clicked on anything, it will also pop up then. And you can use these to capture details. So based on things like, email them their basket. So maybe they've added some things into their basket and they haven't checked out yet. That is a big thing. Or maybe you want them to sign up to your newsletter. So give them an offer. Tell them that they'll get certain % off if they sign up, or maybe you want to kind of show them a product. So say that, if they've been browsing, maybe you can do anything savvy like that. You've also got the option of data capture forms. So data capture forms are, or skinny signups are where you would capture email addresses for newsletter signups again, or offers, but they are on the actual page itself. Or they can actually be a part of landing pages. So there's loads of different things that you can do. And so the question is, how can Communicate help you integrate better with your website? So the first thing is creating data capture forms. We can actually create them on the platform, and to have it in a way to have the look and the feel of your website, have your branding there, we can do that. And you can also use these as landing pages, like I said, for your emails to capture data that'll feed directly into your tables. So into your data tables, and then that you've got all that to then retarget them later, or if you want to send them follow-up emails, you've got all that going into your email platform. So what I'm going to do now is pass you over to Bonnie, who's going to go into more detail about data capture forms.
Yeah, thank you, Jumeirah. So I'm just going to talk through data capture forms, and first of all, just some of the benefits that this option can give you. So really, it's all about being responsive and being able to implement something with a reduced amount of cost. Websites, we're aware that you might have a third-party agency that's involved or a different team. So really, leveraging and using data capture forms can give you the ability to implement something that might require you to have a, like Jumeirah mentioned, a dedicated landing page or something on the website that you might not be able to implement with the speed and turnaround or within the team if you were to do it directly on the website. So they can also be mobile optimized as well. So this is something that can be done as part of the building process, just to ensure that no matter what device the individual is viewing the data capture form on, or that landing page that you are using, that they are optimized for mobile and in line with accessibility as well. Obviously, a real benefit of leveraging data capture forms is the ability to improve the quality of data. And I'll be covering this a little bit later on as well in a bit more detail, but it just gives you the opportunity to obviously ensure that the data that you have is relevant, accurate, and up to date for the recipients and your subscription base. By leveraging and improving the data that you do have as well, it gives you the ability to better target and segment your mailing list and just really get granular in how you communicate with your recipients. And this obviously allows you to deliver more targeted messages and just really, I guess, get to the detail of what that individual recipient really needs at that point in time. And this can also be customized to the recipient. And what do I mean by that is actually the ability to, as part of maybe a welcome journey or a update to your subscription, you can pull in some of the existing subscription details that the individual has already, that you've already captured for an individual, and actually pull that through into the form if it's used as part of an email, and actually give them the option to update that or build on it. And it's just a great way to show that you understand the individual and have already a little bit of knowledge on them. So just to give you a couple of bit more details, I know Jumeirah touched on this before, but there are a number of different options that are available. So the first one is that this can be directly embedded onto your website using an iframe. So this quite often is seen, you might have a what's referred to as a skinny sign up, which might be on, say, for example, your homepage, or on any additional pages that you might have on your website. And it's just a simple sign up form that you can collect, use to collect new subscriber details. But you can also host as well larger pages. We have customers that have used this where they want to collect additional information on a specific page for a specific campaign. But they can also be leveraged as part of a journey, like I said before, used to update preferences within an email. So that can be done where you provide a specific link that goes out to a landing page, and the customer can then update their preferences or add in details, whatever details that you're collating at that point. These can be used as well, as I've mentioned, as a landing page. If you wanted to relay some specific information, you could use the data capture form, have a link that links out to a specific page, and it might host or capture some details there. If you wanted to highlight some specifics about maybe a campaign. But they can also be incorporated into and part of a journey. And the real benefit of all of this is just, as I mentioned before, just really allows you to keep recipients engaged. So I think it's good practice to not just assume that your recipients are going to remain static and always want the same stuff, but actually recognize that they might develop and their needs might change as they go along the journey, or as they sort of change and develop with time. And a great way to do that is just to include it either as part of a footer within an email, or do periodic updates where you're capturing additional data and just ensuring that what you do have on your books is relevant and up to date. And again, this just really enforces and allows for better segmentation. So I'm just going to run through some of the use cases here, and after that I'll go through a couple of examples. But as I've mentioned, it can obviously be used as part of a subscription. So this, you might recognize these when you sign up for the events. You know, that's what we used there. You've got just a simple sign-up form where you've got name, email, and the company as well. They can be used for more in-depth sort of follow-ups where you're capturing additional preferences. And that can be seen in the second example there, where we asked you to select for the specific seminars that you were interested in. And this can be done in various different settings, whether it's looking at the frequency of communication, the type of communication that the individual wants to opt into, whether it's specific products or additional details. But you can, and I will show, do you have some great examples of surveys as well? So this can be leveraged to collate data, post an event or post an experience or specific purchase that an individual might have made, and to collate a bit of feedback on that experience. Again, as I've mentioned here, we obviously use the event registration form, which is on the right there, so I won't cover that again. But this can be used for when we hopefully do and are able to meet in person again. If you're hosting events, this is a great way to capture and send out information based on that as well. And I will be showing a really good example as well, how this could be leveraged to both collect but also cleanse data. And this can be done as part of a journey. So you might start off with the initial subscription form, but further down the line, there might be additional data points that you'd like to collect and leverage and use on that specific, for that specific recipient and as part of that journey. But another example, which we don't see often, I guess, within the consumer market, but certainly within a business-to-business setting, is the use of gated content. So this is where you might have a specific a white paper or an article or anything that might be of interest to the individual browsing your site, in order to ensure that they're engaged and can become a prospect where you can contact them regarding promotions. You can give them the option to sign up to receive that content, but then also give them the option to opt in as well at that point to be sent additional marketing information. It's a great way to really leverage that and to acquire new subscribers as well. But one thing which you might not see very often, but it's a great way to ensure again that the individuals who are receiving your emails do want to receive them, are being kept, it is up to date, the information that you have as part of a re-engagement campaign. We often use this in a couple of different ways. So first and foremost is to give the individual an opportunity to update their information or their subscription status. But individuals might get to a point in their journey where they might want to pause or no longer hear from you based on the specific content that you're sending, but they might want to change the details that they have. And it's a great chance to be able to update the subscription status as well as part of the journey there. But as I go on to the next one, just a few examples here. So the first one that I've got here is a more visual example, because quite often we get asked, how detailed and visual can the data capture forms be? So we've obviously got here a new subscription detail collection form here that also details a few logos that are interactive and give the individual the option to opt into different mailing lists that communicate the different products that have been highlighted there. And over here, you've got another great example. So instead of just collecting an email address and maybe having a tick box or toggles, you've got very visual. Obviously, whenever we think of travel and holiday, we're always reminded of the great memories that we can have. And that's a great way of just really relaying that and just bringing it back in line with the branding that you can have as well. I mentioned this before around data cleansing or data improving or additional data collection. This example here, we created this campaign to go out to existing subscribers and to really try and target them to really understand, what products did they already have, but also trying to forecast that future purchasing behavior and really understand what were they planning on purchasing within the next 12 months, so that we could really use that as part of the journeys that were being set up to ensure that we were being relevant, but could also target them at the right time when their intent might be a lot higher than sort of carte blanche, just applying and sending out emails to everyone. And I mentioned about gated content as well. So this is another great example here, but it targets, I guess, the ability to specifically receive a match day program. But a similar example of that could be leveraged and used for gated content, like I mentioned before, for a business-to-business setting. I'm going to hand you over to Jumeirah, who's going to talk through a bit about social.
Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, so we are now going to be covering social media. So first of all, let's go through the benefits of social media. So social media marketing it's a lot cheaper than traditional methods of marketing. And you can easily inform your customers and the world of an offer that's happening at your locations or wherever it is by just simply posting something on there and across like sort of multiple social media platforms. Now you can actually put adverts on a social media platform where you can indicate the kind of profile of the person that you want to view it. And so in effect, basically you can reach, the reach of your product can go to the actual target market. You can speak to your customers directly. And it means that you can engage with your customers and give them the best service and satisfaction that you can with your services and your products. And you can actually improve the loyalty of your customers in that way. And now it's easy and it's fast for you to measure how sort of well or how not so well that you've done in your marketing campaigns. So there's lots of measures that you can actually go and have a look at on social media. And it actually provides a real time and actual numbers of the number of people that are either engaged with your communication or the kind of demographic or anything. There's a lot that you can actually find out. Now, you can actually build a community where you've got loyal customers can actually quickly and easily communicate with the world and everybody that they've got on there. And they can actually speak about your product, your business, and you can actually respond to them a lot quicker as well. And you've got the ability to kind of have direct contact to your customers, like I say, and stay in touch with them all the time. So rather than kind of going through the other traditional channels, you can communicate directly with your customers. And of course, if you've got any new products or any new sales or any news that you want to share with them, you have the ability to do that via social media. So how can we integrate with social media marketing and with your email marketing? So for this first thing is that you need to upload the list of your subscribers to your social networks. Now, it's a really, really good idea to start following your subscribers on social networks. And that way you can actually get a clear idea of their preferences, requirements, what they're kind of looking at. Plus, you know, if your social media content is actually really good and engaging enough, you can actually attract new followers and get in touch with good quality prospects. The next thing is that you need to look at inviting your social media followers to subscribe to your emails. And the reason for that is newsfeed algorithms are evolving all the time. And it's, of course, as they are changing all the time and evolving, it becomes more and more of a challenge to reach and engage with prospects on social media. And in effect, what you might find is that on the odd time, you'll either lose followers or you might actually struggle to reconnect with them later as well. Now, to stay sort of make sure that that doesn't happen on the safe side, you should try and always invite your social media followers to be email subscribers and vice versa. So it should be a two-way thing. And what you also want to do is do what we call reward-based marketing, which always works better to engage sort of new customers. So persuade your current email subscribers to get their friends or family to either like your Facebook page or follow you on Twitter or LinkedIn, to then win like an incentive or give them some discounts. And that will really work for you. And then also is include what we like a retweet this tag in your emails, and try and have or feature like an interesting tweet in your email campaign, and encourage your subscribers to do a cross promote of your campaign. So where you tell them to retweet this, and that will then get you that recognition out there, and your word gets out as well. And also see where you can have email sign-up forms on social media, where it gives you the opportunity to collect more data, so you can embed that sign-up form and you can get all of sort of your followers to be part of your email list. And sort of one of the other most effective ways to integrate with social media is by adding like a live social media feed in your emails. Now, our tech partner LiveClicker actually can easily help you to add live feeds into your emails, and that really works well. Now, look to kind of leverage social media and email marketing in order to optimize the use of both channels. Just make sure that you're contextual, so you have the right context, you're responsive, and make sure it is relevant, so all your followers and subscribers enjoy your messaging regardless of the platform that you're using. So keep it consistent. Now I'm just going to pass it back to Bonnie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jumeirah. So in conclusion, we've obviously gone through how you can, I guess, leverage all of the different channels alongside your email marketing communications. And just to really emphasize that all of this begins with and starts from great data that you can collect and leverage throughout the journey, that really drives home that ability to understand your customers' needs, but to also seamlessly integrate all of the different channels with that knowledge alongside your email communications. So I just want to thank you all for attending this session. If you have any specific questions or general ones that you'd like us to answer or go into more detail, just please feel free to reach out to account manager or email us at accountmanagement@communicatorcorp.com. Hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch up with you soon.